Anything to discuss? That means he's trying to say, I think, that he is equanimous. He does not love himself like most people. And on the other extreme, he does not despise himself like some ascetics who have not attained the equanimous state. They are practicing so hard, and they despise the body, despise themselves. They might commit suicide and all these things. But he says he does not despise himself properly to show that he is equanimous, he has attained that equanimous state. You see, normally the Buddha and the Arahant disciples, they don't generally inform people that they have finished their work. But only that when they have attained enlightenment, generally they would go and see the Buddha and tell the Buddha that they have finished their work, but in such a way that there's no self. They don't say, oh, I've done my work, I already attained Arahanthood. They never talk like that because they have no more self. Instead, they will say, if a monk has finished his work, he would have such a state, or such, he would have his character would be such and such. So, in that way, the Buddha knows that they are trying to say they have finished their work. So later, when the Buddha had entered Parinibbana, then the monks and nuns who had attained enlightenment, they would go and see the Venerable Ananda and declare to the Venerable Ananda that they have attained enlightenment. So that's one thing. And the other thing is sometimes lay people ask the Buddha or the Arahants directly whether they have attained this state and they attain that state, like attain psychic power or attain Arahanthood or something. And being confronted thus, sometimes if they don't say anything, then people will think they have not attained, you see. So in that state, sometimes they are forced to say that they have already attained. So even the Buddha also sometimes lay people ask him directly, then he say that actually it's a rude way of asking, But he said nevertheless he will satisfy them with an answer, then he will say that he has finished his work. The other thing is sometimes like the Buddha asked the monks, his disciples, not to show psychic power, but he himself sometimes when he thought the situation, in that situation is good to show, then he will show his psychic power, like some of the suttas where this ascetic challenged him to a debate and all these things, and then the Buddha, after defeating the ascetic in front of a lot of people, then he will just fly off into the air and go back to his monastery. So that's just to show them how great the Buddha and his monks are, in case they had any doubt. Just now I mentioned is from the Sutta Nipata, and the Sutta Nipata is one of the books in the Khuddaka Nikaya. No, I mean now it's in book form but in the Buddha's time it's just one of the suttas one of the many suttas. Yeah. Yes, it's the same. Only thing, consciousness, you can, in the Paticca Samuppada, there are two interpretations. One is that you can see it, for example, like the traditional interpretation, avijja paccaya sankhara, sankhara paccaya viññānaṁ. Vijnana is consciousness. So because of ignorance, you have volition. And because of volition, that means the will to live. You have the will to live. And because of the will to live, you have consciousness. Now, in that case, that consciousness, two ways to interpret it. One is, if you follow the traditional three lives interpretation, they say because of past life ignorance, but then the Sankhara, they don't interpret as will to live. They interpret it as karma. You create karma in the past life. And because of that, in the present life, that consciousness is reborn. That consciousness starts again. That's one way of saying. That means that consciousness refers to the birth of a being. But another way of seeing is that you don't need to talk about past life. You can consider it as moment to moment. Every moment in our existence, we have ignorance. And because of ignorance, we have the will, the strong will to live. And because of the strong will to live, our consciousness arises. As I mentioned, consciousness is not a constant stream. Consciousness arises momentarily and passes away. And you need something to make it arise again before it passes away. And what is that something? That something is that will to live. So prolongs that consciousness. When there is no more will to live, a person dies. Consciousness will stop. So you can consider it like that, moment to moment. No, there are different interpretation. The volition, the will to live and the karma is a different interpretation. But that sankhara is interpreted by the traditional monks, follow the commentaries and all that as karma, and that is the condition for sankhara is a condition for karma to arise. So here I'm saying that sankhara is the will to live, whereas the traditional interpretation according to commentaries is karma. But then there is a fault with this because if you say it is karma, then if a person does not create karma, it means he will stop existing. A person continues in samsara because of craving, not because of this karma. So, for example, there's a type of beings that are born in the fourth jhana plane, and they are unconscious, asanya satta. They have the mind does not work, they only have a body. So in that case, they don't create any karma. But does that mean because they don't create any karma that they will become liberated? No. Even they don't create any karma, after that they are still reborn. On the other hand, somebody like Angulimala, he has created a lot of karma. You think, okay, he has created so much karma, he must go to hell, so he cannot get out of samsara. But no, even though he has created so much heavy karma, and he should go to hell, but because he understood the Dhamma and he practiced so hard, he let go of the will to live. Because when he let go of craving, let go of attachments, everything he let go, including the craving for life. He let go. So when he died, he is not reborn. Consciousness stops. So in this case, you can see that the consciousness stops. Vijnana does not come only when you let go. When you let go of craving, when you let go of attachment, when you let go of the will to live. Craving, of course, you have craving for existence, craving for non-existence, and craving for sensual pleasures. All this you let go. Then only a person can stop the consciousness from arising again. Not to do with karma, and that does not have to do with karma. It has to do with letting go of our craving. You see, in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, when they describe how the Buddha attained Nibbana, he entered the fourth jhana, and coming out of the fourth jhana, he entered Nibbana. So it shows that the state of jhana is a very high state, where your mind has got to be tuned to the fourth jhana, then only you can enter. So that's why the Buddha says a person cannot become liberated without the four jhanas. In one of the suttas in the Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha said it is impossible to attain destruction of the five lower factors, which means anagamin and includes the arahant, without the four jhanas. So even if a person at that moment he does not enter the fourth jhana, but when he dies, if he wants to enter Nibbana, that state of mind at the last moment must be similar to that absolutely cool state of the fourth jhana, then only he should be able to enter the Nibbana. Otherwise, without that state of mind, I think it's impossible. If your mind is a scattered mind, is a very disturbed mind, how can you enter Nibbana? It's not a focused mind. That is whether you have already attained it before. If you already attained it before, the mind can revert to that. If it is your everyday mind, if a person constantly abides in the fourth jhana, and when he's dying, even he dies of cancer, after a while he does not, is no more conscious of the body, then he goes back into his natural frequency, his everyday state. His everyday state is abiding in that jhana, then he can easily enter that jhana. Consciousness creates the world, it's not consciousness. Oh no, consciousness continues. Basically, it doesn't go anywhere. It's just that your mind, your consciousness, will show you you are in a certain realm, or you are in a certain. So your consciousness is producing the world for you. World, it's not that your consciousness is in the world. It's the world is inside your consciousness. There is a sutta called the Kamma Vibhanga Sutta, where the Buddha says there are some ascetics, they have developed psychic power, but their psychic power is quite limited. So they see a person living a good life. After living a good life, that person dies and is reborn in the woeful plane, either as a ghost or animal, or maybe even in hell. Then they see, how come this person does good deeds in this life, does not harm people, and then he goes to the woeful plane. Then they say there's no such thing as karma. The karma says, if you do good, you should get good, right? You should be born in a happy destination of rebirth. But this fellow is born in a woeful destination. On the other hand, the opposite may also be true. Somebody leads a evil life, doing harm to others and all that. After death, he's born in a happy destination, maybe as a human being, or maybe even as a low deva. Then this ascetic says there is no karma. But the Buddha says it's not that. Buddha says if his psychic power were greater, he would look at many lifetimes. If he look at many lifetimes, that person may have done good and evil in many past lifetimes. So when that person is dying, it depends on which karma comes to his mind. If he happens to think of good karma, then he goes for a good rebirth. If he happens to, his mind is fixed on evil karma, then he goes to a woeful pain of rebirth. Mm. 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 Yes. So that's why taming the mind is very important. If you are old enough like me, you will know that there are some people, almost the whole life, they are very pleasant, very pleasant nature, and quite good and all that. Towards the end, just before they die, their character change into a very ugly person, into a very bad-tempered, nasty person, So it shows that the previous life character has come back to him. Because never disciplined the mind. So a lot of us, we have, the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We have two types of character in us. We have the angel in us. We also have the Satan, the Mara, the evil one inside us. So how, when you die, which one will become greater? If you don't tame your mind, you don't cultivate good qualities, towards the end, all your unwholesome character come up, then too bad for you, you go to the animal realm or something like that. That's why don't rest on your laurels. A lot of people we think, I never do evil, I don't harm people. Mm. 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 Yeah, there are 5 greatest offenses. If you commit any one of these 5, after you die, you have to go to the hell realm. One is injuring a Buddha. Shedding the blood of a Buddha. A Buddha, you cannot kill the Buddha. A Buddha, his life is determined by his will to live. I forgot to mention the Buddha, before the Buddha entered Nibbana, it is mentioned in the Sutta, he let go of the will to live, If he did not let go of the will to live, he would not die. Mara was chasing after him to enter Nibbana. So many times Mara, Satan, asked him to enter Nibbana. He refused. He said he has not finished his work. Finally, when he finished his work, he said, okay, I'll be 3 months' time, I will enter Nibbana. At that moment, he let go of the will to live. Then seems the whole world quake. So even a Buddha has to let go of the will to live. So most people, we have to let go of the will to live. That's why it is the will to live that conditions consciousness. So coming back to this 5 offenses, if you commit these 5 offenses, you definitely have to go to hell the next lifetime. One is shedding the blood of the Buddha intentionally, harming the Buddha. Second one is killing an Arahant. Third one is killing your mother. Fourth one is killing your father. And the last one is causing the Sangha of monks to split into 2 Sanghas. That means you must have at least 8 monks. So one side at least 4 monks, the other side at least 4 monks. You split the monks, harmony of the monks, then that is great evil karma. Even if you don't split them into 2 sanghas, which is called a schism, even if you do a lesser offense, say like there are 4 monks, and then you divide them into maybe 2 monks and 2 monks, it's not called a schism. There's another word for it, but I feel that also is very bad karma. You may not go to hell, but it's still very bad karma. Coma, yeah. within the law lah. Within the law you can decide lah. Unless the person has made a will lah. There's some people they are already given clear instructions lah. Not to put them on life-saving equipment or anything like that. Like Ajahn Buddhadasa, he saw Ajahn Chah suffer for so many years. So he told his disciples, when I become unconscious, I go into a coma like that. Don't give me oxygen and all that thing to keep me alive. He said, just let me go. So if a person has given strict instructions like that, now you have to follow his wish. Otherwise, the family decide. But the family also cannot do certain things like take his life. The most you can do is take away the life support equipment, the oxygen and all that. Then let him struggle. Whether he wants to live or not depends on his will. If his will to live is strong, he will continue to survive. Okay, can we stop here for tonight?